good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Whatever time zone you happen to be in, welcome to Leaders Worldwide Online Toastmasters Club. Our club mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leaders Worldwide is designed for politicians, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as anyone who wants to make their message heartfelt and authentic. Core values, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. We are Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters, where leaders are made. And welcome to the club. I'd like to introduce our president, Rosemary Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. SAE. And as Toastmasters, we always conquer technology. Technology is there to work with us and not to work us. I am grateful to be here as your president and to start your meeting this afternoon. We have some speakers which are going to blow us out of this world. When I hear of money and how to manage money, I love that topic. And I know Rosalind always has a journey to take us on. And when we land, we are the better off. And Dee Marie King, her voice is so soothing. So this evening, we are in for a treat, and my ever-loving grammarian Toastmaster Sally. I just love how she listens and reacts. As president, I would like to encourage those of us who have not taken up the opportunity to save that $15 before July 31st. Let us think of it in these hard economic times. Wherever we can save, we should try to save. Because this evening we are going to look at how we use other people's money, and we should not let that happen to us. So let us welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Dee Marie, as she takes over this portion of her meeting.
Hello, everyone. And I would say welcome to all of you and thank you for being here. I first want to stop and just commend Alex. That was a phenomenal opening. I love the flags, your video. That was superb. Absolutely. So when we talk about excellence being one of the core values of Toastmasters International, excellence is also a core value for Leaders Worldwide. Thank you so much, Alex. So the theme for our meeting today is money matters. And you can define that in one of two ways. We can say money matters. And when you emphasize money matters, that means that it's important. But when you say money matters, we're talking about the things that tie into and keep us held bound by money. So we're going to look at it from both perspectives today. I'm excited to hear that topic being given in a speech, and then we're going to ask questions about it. And if there's anything that needs to be answered, I'm sure we're going to pull it out and deal with it at this time. But before we get started with all of that, I would like to introduce you to our general evaluator, who will then introduce her functionaries. And that person is Anne-Marie Bonaker. And she's a guest evaluator, as a matter of fact. Our general evaluator, Anne-Marie Bonaker. You have the mic.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. It's great to be a guest here at Leaders Worldwide. I am going to be your general evaluator today, which means that I will be evaluating the entire meeting and running the evaluation section, calling on our evaluators. I am going to call on a few people here. I'm just getting my agenda up. I would like to call on our timer today. The timer is Teresa. If you could, no, I'm sorry, that is not. That is evaluator number 2. So who's doing the timing today? I don't see a name here.
Talha bin Hamid.
I'm doing the timing.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing today?
Thank you so much. So everything in Toastmasters is timed, including the speeches, the table topics, and the evaluation. The general rule is that for speeches, if the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, I'll be showing the green at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. For table topics, it's green at 1, yellow at 1:30, red at 7. For evaluations, it's green at 2, yellow at 2.5, and red at 3. Every time you see red, that means that you have 30 seconds to wind up your presentation. Also, one more final point that has been introduced in the recent contest rulebook. The disqualification only happens when the next second has started. So up to 7 minutes, 30 seconds, and 59 microseconds, you're still qualified, but as soon as it turns to 7 minutes 31, you are disqualified. Over to you, General Noel.
Thank you so much. That's great. Now we are going to hear from our grammarian, counter, and word of the day master, Sally Reyes.
Thank you so much. This is from Berkeley, California. It is my job to love to listen to all these speeches and see how you handle your expressions, how you put filler words in. Those are really important. And I listen for the ands, buts, and so's. And sometimes it's a lot, and it's very easy to accommodate and work those out of your speeches and make them more comfortable, more effective. And there's always special words that we don't hear very often, so I'll listen for those. And we have a special word for today, which is bingo.
All right, 3 in a row, bingo. Thank you so much. That is my portion of introducing this meeting. I will send it back over to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
I didn't have an opportunity to define bingo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. The word is used to express satisfaction and at a sudden positive event or outcome. Thank you. It's kind of universal, I think. Thank you.
Anne Marie, I think she's tossing it back to you.
Thank you so much for that. At this moment, we will have the first evaluator who will simply tell us what the pathway is and the objective of the speech of our first speaker. And that first speaker is Teresa Cherry. And our first evaluator is Rosalind Kahn. You will give us her pathway and what her desired outcome is for her speech. Rosalind.
Thank you, making my grand entrance as always. Yes, she will be speaking out of the Pathways Presentation Mastery Level 4 elective question answer session. It is 15 to 20 minutes, and her goal and objective in today's speech is to be able to lead a question and answer, make sure she follows an informative speech structure, and that she allows the time adequately. I know that she will do that and much more. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. A little bit about Teresa Cherry. She is a charter member of Leaders Worldwide and the immediate past president of Visionary Speakers. Both clubs are presidents distinguished. In her presentation, she will share how you can grow your business by attracting other people's, let me back up and say this word again, by attracting other people's money. I think of a magnet as attracting something, okay? So that bears to keep in mind. The title of her speech is OPM, It's Addictive Too. Teresa Cherry, OPM, It's Addictive Too. Teresa Cherry, you have the mic.
Thank you. Have you ever thought how much easier life would be and the growth of your business would be if you had a little more time and a little more money? Well, I can't really help you with the time element, but I can with the money, because one of the great things about being in business and growing a business is the opportunity to engage others with what we like to call other people's money, or OPM. But first, let me share something else with you. If you have enough money, you can buy other people's time to perform all those tasks that for which you are not talented or perhaps don't have the bandwidth to actually do. So I suppose with a little more money, you can extend your time. Anyway, I did say in the title, OPM sounds like opium, and it can be just as addictive, because once you realize how much good and how you can expand your business and continue to provide much more value, not only for yourself, but for your investors and those around you who are participating in the business, it's all good. All you want is perhaps to either invest some of the revenues of your business into other businesses or take on more for yourself. So today I'm going to touch on and remind you of the four conventional ways that other people's money is available to your business. And then if I have time, and I'm not sure I can because of the time limitation here, talk a little bit about what I like to call the democratization of capital markets, which gives access to funding businesses to the general public, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so let's begin. 4 classifications of other people's money that you should consider for your business. I think most people start businesses and think about who they can include. Family and friends immediately comes to mind. Well, let me caution you with that, because before we go into the next 3, leverage, equity, and what I like to call money for nothing, let's talk a little bit about family and friends, because these very same things that are expected from you for all the other more institutionalized classifications should be applied to your family and friends. Please figure out if you're accepting money from people very close to you. Make sure that you take on a very businesslike and professional posture towards that money. What exactly is that money for? What is it? What is the expectation of the person giving it to you? And what is their expectation of any return? If so, is it a gift? Did you just ask grandma, hey, grandma, I want to start a business? And she says, oh, that's really sweet, honey, and gives you some money? Is it a loan? And if it is a loan, is it a recourse or non-recourse loan? Is it an obligation of the business? Or if the business does not do well, does the obligation fall on you? Is it a participation in the business? And did someone maybe presume that he was going to be an active partner in the business? Or is it a passive investment that will be paid back when the business is sold or will be redeemed as the business grows? So with all those cautions, I'll go into the first more institutionalized way to get other people's money, which is leverage. Leverage, not debt. Leverage is money you should accept because you have a very specific idea of what the return on that investment will be. Therefore, rather than taking on debt, which oftentimes is simply a way to acquire a depreciating asset, that is like a car loan. You know, you're stuck for the car loan, but the car keeps the value of the car keeps reducing. Okay, so yes, the first group we think about is banks and commercial lending and the SBA. Just as an aside, the SBA is a great resource when you're putting together a business plan or tracking your projected income from that business. And it's all free, which is very nice indeed. Oh, sorry, SBA, Small Business Administration. But there are lots and lots of other people who are more than happy to lend you money, provided you can demonstrate how much you want, how it's going to be paid back, and what it's going to be used for. There are many secondary lenders, among whom are equipment financing companies. Of course, they'd be happy to help you out to get the equipment you need. What about receivables factoring? Once you start generating some cash flow and having receivables in your business, there are companies that would be happy to buy those receivables from you at a discount. This is a very expensive way of financing, but it's available. There are also asset-based lenders who are not that concerned about your credit worthiness, but they are very concerned about the amount of collateral that you are willing to put at risk to underwrite that loan. Now let's move into equity, because if you incorporate or you are thinking about leverage, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to pay the thing back. But with an equity participation, there's no obligation to pay the money back until the business is sold or you redeem that participation. So basically, it's, if you're a fan of Shark Tank, you are selling a portion of your business to an outside investor. The most important function or the most important thing to consider in those circumstances would be, is this a passive investment, or does the investor expect to participate in the company as an active either board member or participant in the day-to-day operations or decision-making process? Very important to make that very, very clear, or people will make presumptions. Okay, money for nothing includes grants, prizes, sponsorships, and all in all, parts of, how should I say, things that you don't particularly think of to begin with, but these are prevalent for all parts of all industries and all kinds of enterprises, primarily small businesses. But some of the prizes are more than significant. You've heard of the X Prize, which is millions of dollars. All in all, consider, first of all, what part of other people's money is most appropriate for you, where you're most comfortable, and be prepared to answer questions as they arise and as you talk to prospective investors or lenders. So now I am open to questions. Thank you. Now I think someone will.
So Rose, that would be our TMOD. Are you prepared to take questions if we have them in the chat?
We can do that, or they can raise their hand and we will try and accommodate them that way. Sally, you have your hand up.
You're muted.
You're muted, Sally.
Teresa, you mentioned the types of free money, and you said grants and prizes, and then some other word, and I didn't catch it. So,
Oh, yes, of course. Prizes, grants, and sponsorships, which often help in promoting your business because you can have a sponsor bring you onto a stage, or a sponsor can underwrite some of your services for another organization. People who underwrite charitable venues, charitable events might say, okay, we're going to have the parking brought to you by Joe's auto dealership or the local bank. And so that helps the revenue in your company, and you also get exposure with that group.
thank you.
Great. Do we have anyone else? Rosalind?
I had a similar question kind of on those things. Can you give us another example besides the ones you've given us about those other ways that are easy to get money?
Oh, okay, sure.
So be specific.
Actually, let me just tell you that these types of offerings, these types of opportunities are pretty prevalent. If you just, and I hate to say Google, but search for grants and prizes for your industry, you'll find that the US government, for one, has any number of grants and prizes that they will underwrite, given your industry and given the kinds of projects that you have expertise in. As far as prizes go, if you've heard of the X Prize, that is a group that has underwritten major, they're looking for solutions in major worldwide problems. The original X Prize was to develop a space vehicle that could return and be reused. So they're out there. It very much depends upon what your area of expertise is and what kind of business you're in.
Great. Thank you so much.
So I want to dovetail on what Teresa just said, because the experience that I had, I have a bucket list. And one of the things that came up on my bucket list was to rehab a house. Well, an all brick house fell in my lap. And when you're trying to rehab real estate, you have your source, then you just seek out the funding. Because a lot of times they will ask for collateral, and the real estate itself is the collateral that you would need to get the funding to rehab it or whatever. So that ended up being like a marriage made in heaven, to have the property and be able to get the funding to rehab that property. Does anyone else have a question?
Well said. Thanks for the share.
Oh, thank you,
Brilliant.
Teresa. Does anyone else have a question? I thought I saw Rosemary's hand go up.
I think Cynthia
No,
and Alex.
Cynthia and Alex.
Okay, Cynthia.
Mine was about sponsorship, because that's something that is a little hard to understand, but it's kind of like now, like a commercial. Now let's hear from our sponsor. And so it's sponsorship. And a lot of times, like summits, I know Dee Marie has a summit coming up on August 11th on domestic violence. And she can get sponsors to pay for different things, like you were talking about. Maybe a sponsor for the venue, a sponsor for the catered food, sponsor for the lunch, sponsored for the snacks. It can be all sorts of different sponsors. And then oftentimes the sponsors are at different levels, like a gold, silver, platinum sponsor. And then they would have bigger opportunities to be seen. And they especially will go out into the advertising that you do. And that's one way that you can really sponsor an event, whether it's in person or online.
Well, it
Any
will
other?
also give you access to groups you would not normally be exposed to, which is great.
Groups. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Well, I alluded to the example of a charity gala. Perhaps not but if you are marketing to affluent, heart-centric type people, being part of the offering at a gala, even if someone else, say you're the caterer, if someone sponsors you as the caterer, say the local, First National Bank of whatever, you get all that exposure to people who can hire you for their own events. So it works out. It's, well, as I've said at the beginning, win-win-win. If you can figure out what will benefit you and your business as well as those around you, it's a win-win. I want to hear from Alec, though.
Beautiful.
So do I. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. My question is, because you talked about that X funding, or maybe
X Prize.
what is first off, what's the X Prize? I have no idea. I've never heard of that term.
There are several different ones. There are it's kind of a revolving project kind of thing. I haven't looked into it recently, but as I said, one of the original offerings was for a spacecraft that would come back to Earth.
Okay.
Also, there have been for the cure for cancer. I think there is one. There is one for water conservation.
Bigger ideas. Is that fair to say?
Excuse me?
Is it more of a bigger idea type of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Huge idea. Huge idea.
I guess the other question that I had was, I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own company. I teach CPR and first aid for a living, and safety classes. The question that I have is, in your research that you've done, what's the best way to attack the grants, or what your topic is in terms of getting other people's money, whether it's for equipment or for special projects?
It's almost as if you would want to figure out what you need first. If it's equipment, you can certainly have people sponsor it. If you wish, you can have your defibrillator with purchased by the First National Bank of wherever.
Right.
Or you can go after prizes or grants or participate in contests where the very structure of your business, not so much what you do, but how you approach the community, how you're serving the community, can get you a prize, some money, if you win the contest. And well, perhaps not so much in your business, but for a lot of businesses, it's a real struggle to get known.
It's a real struggle to get known. There's a lot of people that do what I do, and it's a very competitive business, but you've given me a lot of food for thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'd like to dovetail on Alex's question. You were saying participate in contests. How do you find out about the contest?
Oh gosh, they're everywhere. I mean, I think that the Office Depot is having one now. Apple sponsors them. Your local bank or chamber of commerce, your trade organizations. What they do is, in order to publicize their own company or their own organization, they will offer a prize and hold a contest. Say, okay, this is for small businesses in the metropolitan area. And we want to highlight the group that can make the best presentations and perhaps within a period of time earn so much. So yeah, they're out there. Actually, I really want to say that we could probably come up with a list if you want to email me.
I will do that. And she said something, Alex, that resonates totally well with us. The person who makes the best presentation. Guess what Toastmasters do?
Yep.
Thanks for that, Teresa.
Certainly. Thank you, everyone. Oh, Rosalind.
And you're talking about competition. I once took a class on grant writing. It sounds a lot of kind of what you're talking is in the grant writing world of who can propose the best. You know, they have a call for propositions or proposals in that line. Is that what you're referring to in that one?
Exactly. And sometimes it is a written presentation with a question and answer for a group, or sometimes it is just a presentation in front. And then, you know, one of those things like the, and I'm sorry, Tob, but one of the, how should I say, one of the things about the general public voting, if you're in a contest, and you know, like the reality shows, oh well, you know, Dancing with the Stars, let's let the general public, the audience, vote on who they like the best. And sometimes that gets people involved, not only with the sponsor but also with the businesses involved. Lots of possibilities. Thank you all.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone. And can we have 1 minute on the clock, please? And then we'll proceed.
Forget to wave your sign for bingo. Sally.
That's what I should have said. Oh, you win a prize. Bingo.
That's what I thought of when you said there's ways to get free money. Bingo.
Yeah, free money. Yay. Well, it's not that free.
No, well. Sounds fun.
Bingo, 1 minute is up.
Thank you so much for that, Tyler. That was very effective as well, okay? So now we will have a 5-minute break. But before we go to that break, I want to commend Teresa. I know we have an evaluator who will be doing an evaluation, but my comments relate to the question and answer period. Anytime someone can floor questions and answers for 10 or 15 minutes and don't have to say, I'll look that up or I'll get back to you, it's excellent. She did not have to say that. So thank you so much for that, Teresa. We will have a 5-minute break, and can you please let us know, Mr. Timer? Is there a
All
hand
right.
raised? Did someone have a hand raised?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 11:38 a.m. in California, p.m. in Pakistan. So we reconvene at 11:42.
Thank you, Tyler.
5 minutes are up.
What was that, Talent?
5 minutes are up.
5 minutes are up. Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So we have heard how other people's money allows us to leverage our finances. And if the word leverage threw you for a loop, it simply means you get to hold on to your money because you can use someone else's, okay? But it also says that if you're in the middle of, say, the house that we rehabbed, and you had gotten money from another source, that's other people's money, and then you found out that you still needed a little bit more. By having held on to your money, you now have the funds that you need to complete the project. So it's smart, it's just making a smart decision. And other people's money means using any money except the money out of your own pocket or out of your bank account. There was even a movie in 1991 that came out about other people's money. It was such a big thing that the movie was centered around how to use other people's money to make things happen. And I'll be giving out a few more pointers as we go along. But at this time, I would like to call on evaluator number 2, who is Teresa Cherry, and she will tell you the pathways and information about Rosalind's speech, who is speaker number 2, and then I will introduce Rosalind. So, Teresa Cherry, would you please take the mic?
I did not. I am unprepared. And I apologize. Did not realize that I should be introducing Rosalind, but I will say that Rosalind will be doing a presentation about how watercolors, the skill of being a watercolorist, has changed her life. And I'm particularly interested in hearing about this because back in the day, I've been meaning to get back to my watercolor hobby. So, Rosalind, you're on, and I guess initially, perhaps you should share with us what your path and level is, because I forgot to download your introduction.
Teresa, I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. So the path that DTM Rosalind Kahn will be speaking from is Strategic Relationships, Level 3, and she will focus on the positive aspects. It's a 5 to 7 minute speech, and the title is Rosalind Kahn will talk about how watercolors transform stress into beauty, how watercolors transform stress into beauty. But before I do that, Rosalind Kahn is a DTM. She's a Triple Crown recipient. She was recently guest on District 57's Toastmaster TV Time, or Toastmaster Time TV. And she recently completed a very stressful evaluation of her scholastic teaching and found watercolors as a way to deal with it. She has been labeled as a modern impressionistic painter and will have her artwork shown in Beverly Hills the last week of July. Rosalind Kahn, how watercolors transform stress into beauty. How watercolors transform stress into beauty. Rosalind Kahn, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, DeMarie. I have never been so excited than I am to give this speech. So it is entitled How Watercolors Changed My Life. So I'd like to begin by showing you this picture. This picture is one I did rather recently. I'd like to let you know that I've only been painting for just 6 weeks. And when I paint pictures, I look at pictures and I look for shapes. And my eyes focus on the picture and my pen is simply doing the drawing. This is a photograph of a lady who was an educator activist. And what really makes me happy about this picture is the illustration of the shading, the details of the earrings and the hair. She had very curly hair. And every day, whether someone tells me or not, I can look at a picture of myself and I say, that's pretty good, Rosalind, not so bad. So this is why watercolors are so important. They create cool effects. They're easier to begin with newcomers because you can always go ahead and paint over it. You can go with the flow. They're more affordable than other suppliers. And one of the things of being a teacher is you don't have a lot of expendable income. So I'm going to tell you a secret. One day I decided that I should try watercolors. I went to the 99-cent store, and for 99 cents, I got this really cool little watercolors that I could go ahead and use. I started painting on the back of the piece of paper. There's a store that's called Five and Below that sells art supplies, very, very inexpensive. So one of the things I absolutely love to paint is flowers. This was a bouquet of flowers I had received probably for my birthday. And it's really amazing because with this picture, when I first started painting, I was doing some pencil drawings, and then the pencil drawings became offensive to me. I couldn't use those pencil drawings. I didn't like to see the pencil marks. But you can see there's more than roses there. There are different colored flowers and just the contrast and the blending. This was basically about a week into my going ahead and starting with the painting. So before watercolors, what's really important is everybody needs a way or method they can do something to relax themselves. You know, they'd say, bingo, I found it. And that hobby might develop into something more. Before watercolors, I was pretty stressed out. How could they say these things about me? They're completely, entirely untrue. I'm not what they say they are. And one day my self-conscious said, Rosalind, you should pick up some watercolors. And my work is very busy and I'm often overwhelmed. I was trying to change one of the slides and I wasted 25 minutes when I could have edited something. And I began this morning making a picture. And when I made that picture, I knew that time was well spent. When you go with the flow of painting a picture, it helps me to relax and start anew. I'm with a group and they say, what are you going to do to relax today? And I said, paint a picture. And my goal is to every day paint a picture. And I know it's going to get better and better. This is another picture that I had done of flowers. They make me happy. There's a heart down in the bottom. And you can see the evolution of the painting because the strokes are very different. I have a lady who's running for Congress. Her name is Dom Jones, and you can check her out on Instagram. She said painting has been in her family. And one day when we sat down to meet, she looked at me and she said, I'm a visionary. They can often look at people and tell where they're going in their life. And I see you as a modern impressionist painting. And she's kind of looked at my paintings and she's going to be there at my first debut of my art show. And I'll tell you about that a little later. And so art can change your perspective on life. It can teach you about nature. Every time I go out and take a walk, I'm looking at leaves, I'm looking at shapes and saying, can I do that? Let me go home and let's practice some leaves. Can I make that tree? Is that an image I can do? It can help you understand yourself because at the time I was going under this evaluation, there was all sorts of negative thoughts that were going through my head of you know, how could we do this? I was in a group that said that one of the quotes for the day is through failure, we learn a new skill. For my 60th birthday, my sister said, you've got to try something you've never done before. And I'd stand in front of my class and say, I can't draw, I can't do that. And what I found is I'm quite artistic. It can help you become more tolerant of other people. It can refine your other skills like writing and speaking in ways of putting words together, coloring them. I was reading a thing on the composer of Los Angeles, and I was looking at this in the last paragraph of how they described this person as an artist when he put those words together, and they just jumped out at me, kind of like the colors do when I'm painting a picture. They can also help make you feel better. This right here is a picture. It's a little light, but what the beauty of what this picture is this flower comes out once a year for a very short period of time. And I apologize, I can't tell you the name of this flower, but it was absolutely gorgeous. Having an outlet, everyone needs to have something they can release themselves beyond work or school. And it can be relaxing and rewarding because I know I've showed this to many artists and they said from day one, Rosalind, keep painting, keep going at this. It gets your mind off your problems and it helps you cope. I recommend that you might try watercolors. It's kind of fun. If not, maybe there's some other hobby that can push you on. There's an artist I go see at the farmer's market. And yesterday I showed him one of my most recent paintings and he said, "You are making progress." And we finished and he had these pictures out his window. And I said, maybe someday we can paint together. You can do your painting and I can do mine. And he's actually going to show up at my art show that's coming up this weekend on Sunday. When I went to go visit my friend Anna Marie, she said, "You've got to try something beyond watercolors." And so these are pastels. They're like crayons, but they have the effect of what oil looks like. And so my sister-in-law had gone to France and I said, "I can do that. I like fruits and vegetables." And so it's kind of my own interpretation of it. And I was just up in the Bay Area for the television times with Toastmasters District 57, and I had created that. And my art journey has been very rewarding. My skills have developed not in less than 6 months. I asked the question to all of you, if you're looking at these pictures now, where do you see me in a year? It's satisfying to complete a new drawing or a painting. It's fun to decorate your workplace with your art, and it's fun to share your artwork with others. You have to turn yourself on the side of your head. This is a flower that was growing in somebody else's yard, and it was just so beautiful with all the leaves coming out, the pectin and the other stuffs. It was absolutely very gorgeous. And I thought the paper looked a little plain by its side. And if I had this to do all over again, I would take off that little thing in the corner. And I was just trying to fill up space. And tips and action items. Start with something small and affordable. Experience with different mediums. Don't beat yourself up. Don't take yourself too seriously. Be open to constructive criticism, and you can keep aiming towards your own goals. And so as we finish, this is another picture. We might have seen it before. Very beautiful. Just the flowers I love to paint. I started painting just in less than 6 weeks ago, and I've decided to pattern my style after the Impressionist movement. To learn more about my work, you can email me at con.rosin@gmail.com. Happy painting. And I'm very proud to say that this weekend, I'm going to have my debut in Beverly Hills is where I'm going to be showing my art. I just picked up my prints today, and I was so excited to see them actually in a frame. It is amazing. I hope you too can find this enjoyment and joy in the things that you paint. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow. Thank you for that. Let's give her a round of applause. Can we have 1 minute on the clock, please?
One minute is over.
Thank you so much, Mr. Timer. So can I ask you, Tala, to please explain the timing for table topics?
Sure. For table topics, the timing is 1 to 2 minutes. On 1 minute, I'll show green. On 1.5, yellow, and on 2, red. You'll have to end your talk within 30 seconds. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Everyone make sure that my window is visible to you before you start talking. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that explanation, Tala. And I see that Alpana is here, and she is our table topics master. So I will turn this section of the meeting over to Alpana R.S. King. And I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, hi, I'm Alpana. Alpana R.S. King is perfect. And it's good to be here after quite a while. So hello, everyone. So I'm here to present topics, table topics on money. And money is something that can be a challenging subject to talk about, especially for women. I grew up without any female role models that had financial literacy or even money of their own, like my mom or a lot of other women in my family. So I pretty much had to learn everything on my own. And earlier this year, I had an opportunity to be a contributor as a co-author in a book about money, which is now a #1 international Amazon bestseller. But it talks about my journey when I first came to this country. I came with $1,000, 2 suitcases, and my mom's recipe book. So it wasn't really a lot. So I struggled with money as I didn't have a lot of options when it came to working and other things. So I worked in a school cafeteria, washing dishes, making not that much money. So that's going to lead me to my first question. So let's see, do I pick somebody or do we have hands raised? Do you want to raise your hands? And who are the guests? Okay, I think I'm going to try and start with the guest first. Do we have a guest? We have a couple of guests, right? Cynthia, do you know who might be?
They should have G's in
So
front of
if at all possible, could we start with one of our members so they can show the guests how it's done in terms of the timing, if that's possible? Does someone want to volunteer?
Okay. I don't see any hands raised. So do I just pick somebody or, well, Sally?
Yeah, so somebody that
Okay.
is not, is Sally raising her hand? Okay,
Yes.
go
Yes, we
for it.
did.
I can ask Sally then. So my question is, I just talked a little bit about my struggle with money. So do you have a story of struggle with money that you can share, or somebody else's story that has inspired you, if not your own story?
Thank you very much. My own story was when I took the chance and bought a house, it had a lot of things wrong with it. And I didn't know how to find someone to help me. But I did ask my gardener, and he knew someone and sent me 2 men from Vietnam. And they helped me. And I visited every used recycled area in the Bay Area. And I was able to make some wonderful buys of things people have torn out of their houses, and I could use it. So they helped me with tremendous skill. And when we finally, I think we worked at it for about 1.5 years, we were celebrating, we were finished with the last project. And I said, I really want to play this forward because to me, it was a kiss from God to help me. And they said, I said, I would like to help some children from Vietnam who'd lost their parents. So again, one of them contacted his brother. The brother was a teacher in the school and went out in the street and picked up these kids who were holding their hands up, begging for money because they had no parents, but they did have in-laws who could help. So I didn't know where I was going to find the money, but my curiosity led me to research. I love dollar stores and places where you can find things for $1 or places that you can recycle. So every time I shopped, I wanted to make sure that I could save as much money and avoided big, expensive stores wherever possible and getting carried away with above the basics I didn't have. I would try to stick to cooking around basics, which allowed me to save $100 a month. So I was able to take care of these children for 22 children for 11 years. And in 2008, the banks fell apart and my ability to go further was brought to a halt. But I had a wonderful feeling of replacing what I needed with something that someone else needed, and they were able to survive and happily with my contribution with clothing, food, and bicycles, and anything I could keep, and good works of just talking to them. But they did not understand English, but would have translated. I just found an enormous ability to enjoy the whole challenge. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, we need a round of applause for Sally. That was amazing, Sally. That's such an inspiring story, and just the difference you made to those children's lives, and for 11 years. That's also an amazing commitment to stay in it for that period of time, because typically people will do it for a year or something, or a one-time thing. So that's really inspiring, and I really appreciate that you shared the story with us. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's see, do we have a volunteer? Or we don't have a
Denise just came on. I wonder if she would do a table topic.
And we do have two guests, Malcolm and Joanne.
Yeah, Joanne, would you like to be the next person?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So this is a fun question. If you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
God, this is not a fun question. This is such a common question. And you have like a prepared answer for this, right? Like either I would donate it, or I would do world travel or world tour. So this is a very difficult question, because honestly, what would I do with so much money? I would buy houses. For some reason, I don't know why, I feel like I would buy houses in different places that I love. Maybe one in city, one somewhere in India. There is a place called Kerala, which is very beautiful, like known for its greenery and lagoons and backwaters. So I would love to have a house there. I would love to have a house somewhere in Paris. So that's like a dream, to buy houses. I know it's a little weird, but somewhere in Switzerland, why not? And then if I have all these houses, I would obviously start an Airbnb rental situation, but I would be staying somewhere for some time, and all the other houses will be out for rent. And that would be a very good way of earning more money with the money that already am investing in these houses. And of course, after that, from all the rent that I get through these Airbnbs, I'll use that money to travel and see the world. So this would be a very ideal situation for me. And I wish I would win a lotto with $100,000 so that I can buy a house in every country and start traveling. But in reality, honestly, when I get that money, I'm sure I will have to take care of a lot of people in my life, and nobody's going to leave me the moment they know that I'll win the lotto, right? There's going to be a line outside my door from my siblings to my grandparents, and I'm sure it'll be very difficult to say no to a lot of lovely and close people. So dreams apart, I genuinely don't think I have the chance of winning a lottery ever, because I don't buy lotto tickets or lotteries. I don't invest in anything that is like gambling or anything that has luck, the element of luck in it. But now that you've given me this question and I've again reframed that dream, maybe tomorrow morning I'll go and buy a ticket. Why not? And see where luck takes me. Thank you, Alpana. Back to you.
All right. So I'm so happy to hear that the question inspired you, because it's really about tapping into our dreams. And I loved what you shared I know Kerala, Kerala is on my bucket list as a place to visit. And when you have those Airbnbs, I hope you can share that information so we can go stay in those Airbnbs. How much fun would that be, right? So thank you for that. Oh, I didn't mean to mute myself. Let's see, who is the next?
And Malcolm's another guest too.
Malcolm?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Is he
Malcolm.
available? If he's not available, maybe Denise will answer a question.
I thought I saw somebody else raise their hand. Would Denise? Okay, Denise is on. Okay, perfect. Would you like to answer? Okay, I think I heard her say sure. Okay, so here's my question. So we all make mistakes when it comes to money, where we might invest in something that I kind of wish that maybe we hadn't. So would you rather go back in time to fix that? Or would you want to move forward to see what you can do and create new opportunities? And whatever you choose, maybe you can explain why.
Denise,
Oh,
you're muted.
You have to unmute again.
you
You
need to-
unmuted once, but then you muted right away. You got to unmute.
Yeah, you need to.
And then you should see that it's unmuted on your end. Yeah, you had it. Oh, now your camera.
You just had it. Yeah.
Zoom is such a challenge. No.
Still unmuted. Still muted.
Yeah. You should see the mute button and you can tell if you're muted or not.
And the host unmute her?
Yeah. Are you on a laptop or a phone? You should look at your microphone.
I think she's on the phone and that's why she's tapping and maybe it's toggling every time.
If you're on the
Zoom
phone,
master unmute her. Can't the Zoom master unmute her? The Zoom
No.
master has the right to unmute the.
That's what I was gonna say. The Zoom can they can
I don't
invite
think
somebody
so.
to unmute. You can actually invite someone to unmute.
The host
You
of
can
Zoom master can
invite, but
unmute
you
the-
can't unmute them yourself.
Guys,
So
No, but
please look at
everybody.
your picture of a microphone. It's a picture of a microphone at the bottom, and you should see it. And then you tap that. Is she frozen?
It looks like she's frozen. There we go.
Yeah, but
Okay.
no,
You know
you
what?
have to.
Let's just move on.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to skip you.
all right. So who would like to answer that question?
There's another guest, Rona.
I think we did ask the other guests, but they didn't respond. So let's see. What about Rona? Are you available?
There
Sure.
you
What's the
go.
question? Could you please repeat the question?
Yes, I'm
I
happy
got
to.
distracted with all this muting.
It's okay. I'm happy to repeat. So my question is, we all make mistakes when it comes to money, where we may not invest in something, or we might invest in something that we sort of wish we hadn't. So would you rather go back in time to fix it, or move forward to see if there's anything you can do to tap into future opportunities? And whatever you pick, why would you do it that way?
Wow, that's interesting. I don't think I can go back in time. However, the lessons that I've learned back then, I will take them forward with me. So I am just coming out of a bad experience with my financial decisions. And wow. Going forward, I would definitely make better choices. When I was younger, the choice that I made was based on, I believe, my upbringing. So back then, my decisions about my financial decisions were based solely on how my father instilled in me how I should not, or rather, I did not get proper financial advice. Although my mother did a good job at it, but I guess when you're young, you're young. But I wouldn't go back at all. Going forward, I would definitely not repeat any one of those mistakes again. I would pay closer attention to every penny. And we're not just paying, not just the pennies, in terms of the spending, and make better investments. So I wouldn't go back for a second. I'm not sure if I have given you enough information. That's a deep question.
That was great. That was
yeah,
great.
Yeah, at least for me, because I'm only now, this is my first time I'm actually expressing that feeling openly in public. So it's a bit emotional for me, if I dare say. And yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Rona, for sharing. And I think we need
Denise
another
is
round of
back.
applause.
Yeah, woo! Wonderful.
It was a
Yeah, I
wonderful.
think I can answer that question better than that, but I'm a bit nervous.
That's perfect. Perfect answer.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. It was a vulnerable share, and
Indeed.
I'm so glad it helped you reflect and think about what you might do in the future, because we all make mistakes with money. So it's not something some of us do, some of us don't. I think most of us do. And I love that you shared that you wouldn't go back in time, but
Oh no, I
move
wouldn't go back for
forward.
1 second.
That was really great that you shared that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
And
You're
with
welcome.
that, I think are we pretty much done, right, Cynthia? I think you said there was time.
Why don't we have Denise answer one?
You're breaking out. I
Sound
can't
like
hear
you're in
you.
the Matrix. Yeah.
Hear you. I think she was saying,
And
let's have
her
Denise.
microphone's working now. We can just have her answer one of the questions that you are. Denise
Can you hear me?
can answer one more
Yes.
because she's now.
Okay. Yeah, you can hear
Yay!
me. So you had asked me the question before when you couldn't hear me about going back in time with money.
No.
So one of the things that, well, I've yet to figure out is how to unring those bells. Really, the past is the past. I do believe that there is nothing that I can do to change the past, nor really anything I can do to really, I can plan for the future. I can sort of predict the future, but what I can do is right now. And in regards to money and my past, definitely I have a past with that. And just to learn by it, to go back and maybe not dwell on mistakes, maybe not beat myself up and want something different to happen. I do believe I'm exactly where I'm meant to be doing this with all of that that's happened. So any changes that I would make now as I move forward, knowing what I know about my past and knowing that I can't change it, I can't unring those bells, I would really do the best, make the best decisions that I can, knowing some of the experience and knowing the things that are working, knowing the things that didn't work, and passing any of that advice along to my family, my son, others, is to just walk that walk and try and make the best decisions that I can for myself in taking care of myself, because, well, money is a sort of a necessary evil. We do need it. Although there's a lot of things of value that, quite frankly, have value that is different from money. However, answering that question, yeah, I wouldn't, not that I wouldn't, I haven't figured out how to change the past. So to just learn from it and move forward and make the best decisions that I can. And when I don't, when I biff it, when I make wrong decisions, well, there you go, that happened, and try and use that to do the next thing that I can do. So that would be my short, somewhat lengthy answer to that. Thank you. There you go.
Thanks, Denise. I'm so glad you were able to unmic and share with us, share that beautiful answer. And I do agree that there's no point dwelling on the past, and also that there are so many lessons that you can pass on to family, children. That's always a wonderful thing to be able to do. I try to do it with my son as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. And with that, I believe my duties as table topic master are complete, and I will pass it back on to I'm not sure whoever the next person is.
Thank you so much for that, Alpana. So we had a rousing round of table topics that had to do with money, with finances. Look inside yourself, be authentic. And we got some very deep and authentic answers. I thank everyone for that. Money does matter. Oh my goodness. So as I look at that, when I say money does matter, it's all about the facts and the art of negotiation. And when I say the art of negotiation, that means using other people's money. You have to negotiate yourself into that. So they don't really know that's what you're doing. They think they're taking part in a business arrangement. They're sponsoring you. It has to do with negotiations. How well are you equipped to speak to that and have them come on board as a sponsor or a co-business person, come into a business arrangement with them? But for the individual, planning ahead is crucial. You want to plan for college expenses. You want to plan for that big marriage. You want to plan for a home purchase. And even now, the price of a car has to be planned in advance if it's a new car. So you want to look at that when you think about how money matters. I will now turn this meeting over to our general evaluator and let her call up our evaluators or her team. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here today as your general evaluator. We're going to start off this section of the meeting by calling on the evaluators for the two speakers. Then we will call on the people in their assigned roles, and then I will give a general overview of this meeting. So the first evaluator today for Teresa Cherry is going to be evaluator number 1. Rosalind, is that you?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Well, fellow testers and most welcome guests, and especially Teresa, boy, they always say a great speaker is one who's able to take something that is unknown to many and break it down into the pure and simple. I'm going to start off with the things that I thought you excelled at, and you did very, very, very well. You spoke with ultimate confidence that any question that was thrown at you, we knew that you could go ahead and answer for us. I like the way that you laid things out, that there are 4 ways to make money, and you went into the friends and the family and so forth. And I thought that worked out very well. Now, I'm not a monies person, and so I would have liked a flow chart I would have liked a flow chart. I would have liked a visual to go ahead and say, here's this, and this relates to this, and this relates to this, and this is how it connects, so that we can see the different parts going back and forth. And on this type of speech, I think a visual aid would have done you really, really well. Another thing, and this is an area or a challenge for you to go to, you never want to apologize in a speech. There were several times I heard you double speak and say something and say it again. So it might be helpful to have a written out outline. I mean, I have my slides here that I was looking at that kept me on pace, so that when the screen was up there, I had a set of notes that I could go to. And having those words down on a piece of paper, you could tell the parts that people wanted to know more. When you gave the general broad answer, the questions came out. What are the prizes? What are the special things? How can we go ahead and win those? When you gave stories, the stories helped strengthen and lighten and bring clarity to what you're saying. And maybe if you took each of those complex ones and gave us an example, just like you had done on the X Prize, or the foundation or the organization, and things like you did, because stories are painted with pictures, and people can relate to those pictures and relate to those stories. We can think of those grandmas and grandpas, and you did really well on that first example of going through all those different alternatives and helping us out. And maybe if you could have planted just a few more of those. But Teresa, I know that you're a very accomplished speaker. I know that you value this feedback that I'm giving you. So I know this can only help you to become a better and better speaker. And you helped all of us learn how there's money out there just waiting for us. All we got to do is make sure that we ask for it. From the bottom of my heart, gratitude beyond words. And thank you so much for such a powerful presentation. Thank you.
Very good. Very nice evaluation. Now we're going to reverse and have Teresa evaluate Rosalind.
Rosalind, I really, really enjoyed your speech on watercolor, and it brought back some memories of my own ventures into watercolor, which were amazing. So I might just circle back to it. So what you excelled at was inspiring at least me, and possibly a lot of other people in this group, particularly with your commentary about how watercolor, or emerging in art and appreciating the environment in which you find yourself, reduces stress and reduces the angst that we often experience in our lives and in our careers. So that was extremely helpful. And certainly congratulations on your upcoming gallery exhibit, and much success in that. I know that you have a very unique style, and thank you so much for your excellent PowerPoint presentation with examples of your work and the stories behind your work. What you might want to work on is exactly what you called me on, in that you apologized for your challenges with PowerPoint and technology. And people will always cut you some slack when it comes to those things. And it's almost and I apologize for my faux pas as well, but yeah, just calling attention to something that is not a big deal and does not contribute to your overall message is somewhat distracting, but that's only me. Challenge yourself. I hardly know what. I mean, it was an excellent speech. I've gone through the evaluators checklist, and some of the things, because it was a PowerPoint presentation, gestures and eye contact and good stuff like that weren't particularly prevalent, but everything else was done. You spoke very clearly, you articulated very well, and all in all, it was a very good and entertaining and enthusiastic speech. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. Very nice evaluation. Now we are going to call on our timer so that he can give his report. Tala, can you tell us a little bit about how we did time-wise today?
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. As far as the overall timing of the meeting is concerned, right now we are making good time. And in fact, we are 5 minutes ahead of schedule. As far as individual speakers are concerned, the first one was a tough one because you have to prepare a speech with a Q&A session. I'm glad to report that Teresa ended her speech at exactly 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and her Q&A session ended exactly at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. So absolutely, I don't know if it was planned or not, but even if you had planned it, you couldn't have planned it better. So congratulations, everyone. The next speech, though, by Rosalind was exceeded its time. It was 8 minutes and 18 seconds. All the table topic speakers met their time except for Sally, who spoke for 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Rest were within their time. Both the evaluators were within time at 2 minutes and 40 for Rosalind and 2 minutes and 50 for Teresa. Over to you, General Evaluator.
I'm on mute, excuse me. Thank you for that timers report. That's great. Next, we are going to have our grammarian, counter, and word of the day master, Sally, tell us how we did with words.
Okay, thank you so much. I picked a very strange word, but to celebrate when we find money and use money, but I don't think it was used too often here today, but it was a challenge. And Marie was one, Rosalind one, Tala one, Sally one, Cynthia one, and two from Teresa. And I was so involved, I think I might have missed a few wonderful things, but it was a great day. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that report. Now I will give an overview of this meeting. I think this meeting went very well today. We started on time, and as our timer said, we were ahead of schedule. Both of our speakers did a great job. I learned a great deal from both of you. Teresa gave us some really good financial tips and how to use other people's money, which is a very important lesson in business because it's not always good to keep using your own money over and over again. And this is a good way to vet out whether or not the next activity is a good investment or a good pursuit. So thank you for that. And Rosalind, I loved learning more about your watercolor journey. I know that you've been doing a great job with your watercolors. I've enjoyed supporting you through this, and to hear you speak about it and give the full story was wonderful. It was great welcoming our guests, Joanne, Denise, good to see all of you. And I really enjoyed the table topic session by Alpana. That was very good. We all make money mistakes, and she provided us a safe space and a safe ground to discuss things that are not easy to talk about. Our Toastmaster did a very good job. Enjoyed her organization and how she kept the meeting moving. It was wonderful to see all of you. I would give this meeting a high grade, and I will turn this back over to the Toastmaster, Marie.
Thank you so much for that, Anne Marie, and I concur. It has been a phenomenal meeting. We've all learned a lot. And let me just say bingo. When we leave this meeting today, we have to say bingo, because when I hear the word bingo, I think about that game that you play where you cover the board, and when you yell bingo, you're a winner. So we're all winners today. We are all winners today. The speakers, the listeners, the listening audience, our table topics participants, we're all winners today. So bingo for that. I would now like to turn the meeting at this time. I'm sorry. Was there a question or something, a comment? I will turn the meeting at this time over to our illustrious president, Rosemary Sweeney. Thank you.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. We must continue saying bingo. And at this time, our meeting is coming to an end. However, I would like to hear from our visitors. What do they think of our meeting? Toastmaster Malcolm, are you there?
Yes, Madam President, thank you. Shall I use the word of the day, bingo? That's my thought of the meeting. And here's why. So the theme is interesting, money. Somehow we all have a relationship with money, good, bad, or ugly. And I like how this important topic was sprinkled throughout our meeting, not only in the speeches, our Toastmasters shared tidbits about money. It came also in a variety of ways during the table topic session. And I like the word of the day. It's so cheerful, bingo. So thank you, and back to you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, and bingo. Toastmaster Joanne, can you tell us what you think of our meeting?
Oh, I think very highly of your meeting. Trust me, it's 1 a.m. right now where I am. And I have been listening to a lot of good things about this club and, seeing these messages on the global group. So today I said, I'm not feeling sleepy. Let me try and sit through the meeting. And I had put a message that I will log out as soon as it touches 12 a.m. here, but I'm still here. So that means I definitely enjoyed being with you guys. It's a learning lesson, especially because we come from different backgrounds and culture, and that cultural difference is visible in different Toastmasters that I visit. And I learn a lot from all of these different clubs. And I've learned today something new from you guys. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, and bingo, you're here. Soon we will be letting you get that beauty sleep. Okay, our next guest, who's... Where is she? Denise, yes. Denise.
Rhoda?
That's old. Can you tell us what you think of our meeting?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I think it's fabulous. As a new member, I'm thrilled to it's valuable for me, whether money is valuable and then that non-money is valuable to me. So bingo on the yes and winning. How cool is that? That holds value. And I do know that, jumping in, listening to all of you, I'm going to go back on YouTube and hear all the speeches that I missed when before I was able to jump on. But I know something that was just fun that happened to me this week, that I received something that was very valuable to me and I traded it. It was on, I think it's called Nextdoor. And there was a woman, I like buttons. I like creating an art, and buttons are something that I do like. And she had this great collection of buttons. And what she wanted for it was some fruits or vegetables or whatever someone may have had in their garden. So I picked some lemons, some fruit, put together a little bouquet of herbs and flowers. And it was so much fun to go over there and swap her some things from my garden that I love, that held high value to me. And she did, because she didn't have a garden. And I got a great bucket of buttons that, well, was very valuable to me.
So you should say bingo.
So bingo and winning bingo on that.
And
money doesn't matter.
No.
As much as it doesn't.
Tala had to leave us because we do not have an Airbnb for him, and it is 12:35, he says. So we thank Tala, and can we hear from Rona? Rona, can you tell us what you think of our meeting, and how did you hear about us?
Sure, bingo. Although I came in late into the meeting and blind, quite frankly, it's my third meeting, and I must say I got valuable experience from it. It's a good learning lesson for me to relax and to calm myself and to speak clearly so that the people that I'm speaking to, communicating with, understand what I'm trying to say. So, like I said, I missed the gist of the meeting, and I'm happy to be here nonetheless. I don't feel like I missed anything because I can always go back to watch the presentations. However, I would like to end, this small presentation with a small quote, a short quote from Herman Melville, Moby Dick. For this appalling ocean surrounds this verdant land. So in the soul of man lies one insular Tahiti, full of peace and joy, but encompassed by all the horrors of a half-lived life. So I say that I chose that quote because I really appreciate the welcome by the Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we are going to have our meeting, call our meeting to a close. I thank everyone for being with us this afternoon, morning, evening. For me, it is 4 o'clock. How is that on like 11 p.m. in our evening meetings? And again, I want to encourage those of us who have not taken that discount we are given by Toastmasters to take up that discount before July 31st. Remember, money matters. That's the theme of our meeting. And as much as we can keep our monies, it shows that we are wise. At this time, I would like to hand over to our Toastmaster Cynthia, distinguished Toastmaster Cynthia, to see if she has any additional information to share with us. Let's make her feel welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, President Rosemary Sweeney. Give her a hand. Great. So we have a couple of exciting meetings coming up. We have the week off next week because it's the 5th Monday of the month, and we're always closed on the 5th Monday. So have a wonderful day off. Go and do something different that you can remember us by. And then the following week, August 7th, we're having our Moments of Truth, MOT program. And this is really powerful. It's a way for us to pause and stop and look at our club and seeing if there's 6 areas that we're going to look at. And we have 6 leaders, actually 7, that are going to lead us in those areas. And we also have some people set. So me and Alex are going to cover the first one of the sessions for first impressions in the main room. And then we have 5 breakout rooms headed by Dee Marie, Cassandra, Harry Kelly, Nadine James. She's going to do the PPR. And there's one more. Who's that one more? 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one more, but Isaac's going to be with Dee Marie, and Denise is probably going to go with Carrie Kelly for our member orientation. Sally's going to go with Cassandra. It's going to be a great meeting, and we're going to start it off with Dr. Wade Cartwright is going to come and tell us about the program and what we're going to look at. And then we're hoping that Tyree Johnson, many of you have met him before. He's a past district director, and he will be rounding us out at the end with our feedback and reporting out what we found. He's going to give us some best practices and motivation for how to do things differently. And we're probably going to be looking at our meeting schedule, and we're going to be going to 1 hour. Everybody voted for it in the WhatsApp. That was Alpina's idea. She put it forward. We've been tossing this idea around for over a year, and we finally did it, and we're going to have it launch that probably on August 21st, because on August 14th, we're going to have our TEDx update. We're going to talk a lot about TEDx and what we're going to be doing there. So we don't have any scheduled role players that we need. We've got everybody that we need on August 7th. August 14th, we're going to need a table topics person and a timer. So if you want to volunteer for that, I can take. We're trying to do more of this offline and not take our meeting time to arrange the agenda. So to close this out, I would love to hear from Isaac. Do you have any takeaways that you're taking away from our meeting? And we would love to give you a treat.
Okay, well, I enjoyed the meeting and I felt good as a spectator. I love the fact that Alex was holding the fort down. So I thoroughly enjoyed this meeting. I love the speeches. I will definitely try to find I forget what you call them, but you borrow money from them, family and friends who can maybe loan me some money to get through this month. But anyway, I enjoyed the meetings. And as always, I thought everybody did a great job. So that is my comments. That is my take.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what would you like for a treat?
Well, I guess I would. Well, I'll tell you, I had my favorite treat last Monday. It was my birthday treat. And I think probably anybody who's listening to me knows anything about me, they'd know what that would be. Peach cobbler with with Haagen-Dazs ice cream. So I really OD'd on sweets. So
nice.
So you know what? I guess I'd get a double dose of that. So if you
yeah, and Haagen-Dazs, do you want vanilla, French vanilla?
Almond Swiss vanilla. Almond
Swiss vanilla. Swiss vanilla almond. Whoa, awesome. And I'm gonna top that up on top of our favorite peach cobbler from Lola Pratt, homemade peach cobbler with Haagen-Dazs ice cream on top. 1, 2, 3, woo! There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we had a guest, general evaluator was Anne Marie. Would you like to share with us your takeaway? And do you want a treat?
Sure, everybody. Thank you for having me here today as your general evaluator. I really enjoyed being here. It was a great opportunity to see some of you in action. I always enjoy supporting Rosalind in her many different clubs. I belong to Mare Island Toastmasters in District 57 here in Northern California. We meet Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. You're always welcome to join us. And I've really enjoyed my experience today, and I look forward to coming back.
Awesome. Awesome. And would you like a treat? Chocolate, peach cobbler, cheesecake, anything? Virtual.
Sure, I'll take the cheesecake, sure.
Okay, cheesecake. Want blueberry cheesecake?
Strawberry, okay, sure.
Strawberry cheesecake. Okay, New York cheesecake with strawberries on top. And graham cracker crust on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Enjoy.
Thank you.
And Alex, and then we can cut out early.
Once again, everybody did great. Yeah, it was a great meeting, and look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Awesome. Do you want a treat?
I'm good right now. I got enough. You guys are sweet enough for me.
We're sweet enough. And Alpana, do you want to send us out with a takeaway and a treat?
Well, I didn't get to listen to the first talk, so I will go back and listen on the recording. I really enjoyed being here, listening to Rosalind's talk, and also doing table topics about money, because money is something that's hard to talk about, as I said, and it was great to see people share in a deep, meaningful way, because being deep is my jam. So I always love when people are able to share from the heart. So that's something that makes me truly happy. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And what would you like for a treat?
You know, I just ate like an amazing savory breakfast. So I am good right now too. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for now. We'll see you in 2 weeks, August 7th. Have a wonderful rest of the July month. And if you haven't paid your dues, pay them before the 31st, and you will get your Toastmasters discount and our. Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now. Bye, everyone.